Are you wondering about Gilbert and Chandler, Arizona? Which one's better in your research on where you want to move next? I have you covered in this video. Today we're talking about Chandler, Arizona and Gilbert, Arizona. They're right next to each other. They're very similar, but they also have a few differences. So stay tuned. In this video, we're going to compare the two. It's pretty beautiful here, I have to say. So with that, we're jumping into another video, Chandler versus Gilbert, Arizona. Leave any questions you have in the comments and subscribe, do all that stuff, because I would love to help you with all the questions you have to help this process a little bit easier for you. With that, we're going to jump into the top list of pros and cons, or which one's better between Chandler and Gilbert. Chandler and Gilbert are considered both very family-friendly areas, safe, and they're right next door to each other, just southeast of the Phoenix downtown area. So with that, we're going to jump into officially to the first one, which is downtown. They both have a downtown area, and I would say they're very similar. One could argue that Gilbert's is maybe a little bit more vibrant as far as nightlife, but if you want real nightlife, you're going to probably go outside of Chandler and Gilbert, go into Scottsdale or maybe downtown Phoenix, kind of a combination of those. But there's a lot to offer the downtown area. They have a lot of breweries and pubs, pub crawls, live music. They have some art, pretty much everything, the little shopping that you're looking for can be taken care of in the downtown areas of both Chandler and Gilbert. Let's talk about commuting and the differences between the traveling and how long you have to be on the road. So I would say it's pretty similar here because Gilbert's a little bit farther out. So if you're driving somewhere close to maybe downtown Phoenix area, where you're going to drive a little bit farther from within Gilbert. But I know a lot of people are working at home, so that's probably not even really a consideration if you are one of the people that are doing that. And that is a growing number every day. But I would say Chandler they both have a lot of employers, but Chandler's probably a little bit heavier on the employer side. There's a large number of places you can work. The big tech companies, healthcare, banking, you name it, there's just so many options. So you can't really go wrong with either one of those. It's not so far out if you want to go in towards some of the other employers too that are not in Gilbert or Chandler, but you have a lot of great options. I did a lot of comparison on square feet and median price, all that sort of thing, in a lot of the suburbs of Phoenix in a previous video, so you can check that out. I'll put the link above my head here somewhere. But the median price of Chandler and Gilbert are not way off. Gilbert is going to have just a little bit higher at $586,000, somewhere in there, I think, median price for a typical home in Gilbert. And then Chandler comes in at about $536,000. And a large percentage of the homes are all single-family homes in both the communities of Chandler and Gilbert. Except we have shopping. Who doesn't like shopping? There's a lot of different options in both communities, Chandler and Gilbert. Specifically, the indoor mall, Chandler Fashion Center, has a lot of higher-end mainstream retailers, a movie theater, restaurants, food courts, the whole thing. They got everything you need there in Chandler Fashion Center. And then in Gilbert, you have the open-air Santan Village, which has a lot of similar stores and options and food, all the stuff. So you really can't go wrong with either one of those. Are you looking for farmers markets? Yes, farmers market downtown, both cities, Chandler and Gilbert. You're starting to see a pattern here. In their downtown on Saturdays, most of the year have a farmers market. In Chandler, it's about October through May, and in Gilbert, they do year-round with some exceptions, and then the hours vary depending on when it gets super hot. They probably, I think they start a little earlier in the morning to reduce some of that impact of the sun. Another important one, schools. So one of my favorite sites, niche.com, went out there again. Chandler and Gilbert, both very highly rated. Chandler with the A+, and then Gilbert with an A. So you really can't go too wrong with the school systems. They're very touted and highly rated, comparing to some of the other areas of Phoenix. So can't go wrong with the schools. Then we have the nationally ranked top 10 lists for Chandler and Gilbert, and they're hitting a lot of those on a lot of different sites. Recently, or even the last couple of years, both ranked in the top 10 nationally for affordability by smartasset.com is one of them. And then they're also ranked the top cities to work from home, top cities to buy a family home, top cities to be a homeowner. I'm just mentioning just a few of these. And so if you look through and do any research, you're going to find Chandler and Gilbert right up there with cities from across the country. When you think family communities, you can't really have that without parks, including dog parks, because everyone and their dog has a dog these days. That's a dad joke, but 64 parks in Chandler alone and 21 in Gilbert, including the Riparian Reserve. A lot of dog parks, like I said, and there's the big Cosmo Dog Park in Gilbert, which is, it's quite large and it's very popular in Gilbert. And then we have attractions for each city. Chandler has the Wild Horse Pass Resort, which has tons of different activities. Gilbert has the Hale Center Theater, which music, concerts, comedy, pretty much you name it. A lot of different activities surrounding the theater and the arts and music. So each city has a lot to offer there as well. So it's, again, like I said, there's a lot of comparisons that are very similar for each city. So we'll break it down as we look back in everything we mentioned in this video next up. Let's see if we can sum up the great debate between Chandler and Gilbert. And I'm curious on your thoughts on this as well. What are your feelings? Which city do you think is better? Because if you compare Gilbert a little bit farther out, if you are doing a lot of activities and driving into the west side, into downtown in that area or Scottsdale, and then job-wise, probably a little bit more in the Chandler area. What else do we have? We have cost of living. So it's just a slightly lower cost per median price on the homes, but it's also very similar. Nightlife, downtown area, very similar. You got the farmers market, which is also very similar. So it's going to come down to just the feel. I mean, I always talk about that too. It's not something you can really put in a chart. But as you go around and you check out the areas, you'll be able to tell a little bit more on what fits your needs. So again, I'm always here to help with that. So just reach out, let me know what I can help you with. And I'll talk to you in the next video, because that's going to wrap up today's video in Chandler versus Gilbert.